So it is officially 2023 and I've finally been productive in my artworks, which really doesn't feel like something to be proud of since it took me so long. It's been like a year since I started this work. But hey, any progress is good, right? And since I've been productive, that means sharpening more pencils, which means using up more materials than usual. And so I reached out to my sponsor, Faber Castell, the biggest pencil company in the world, and told them about that little problem I've been having, and lo and behold, a few days later, they were like, okay, your materials will be here soon. So this week, I received this in the mail. Actually on the front doorstep because it's too big for the mail. So today we're going to be doing another unboxing video and seeing what they sent me, because for this hyperrealism portrait drawing, as I've said before, I've been working on it for a year or so, and I've used up many pencils, more than I can count, and a lot of other materials as well. And every single time they do send me a package, it sends like 1 or 2 accessories or something really cool, so I'm really excited to see what's inside. Here we go. I actually love recording these unboxing videos and like their sounds that they make, especially like the tape and stuff. They're always very satisfying. Recently I've been doing a lot of like pencil sharpening sounds and videos, and those are doing really well, so I guess everyone loves sounds. So right on top of the box we see a bunch of pencil sets, which is something that I love and always need. So let's get the stuff out first. What is this box? Let's put this away. So right off the bat, this seems like a pretty good haul overall. Let's start out with this. It is a pencil roll, and guessing from the name and the shape, I'm guessing it's something that, you know, you put your pencils in like people do with brushes. Do they do brushes? I think they do. Let's open it and see. The material on this feels really nice. I think it's very leathery and it feels really thick as well. I remember when I did Chinese watercolor, I had something like this, except it was like bamboo, so it was thick and there were like holes inside. And it was basically just a sheet of bamboo that you put your paintbrushes on, and then you roll it up and then secure it with 2 little straps like this. But it would always fall out like on the side when you tilt it like this. There, I'm not doing a really good job of securing it, which I think that's partly my fault. But also I'm really excited to have a pencil storage like this, which I usually use like a pencil box that has already gotten really dirty from like 6 years of usage, and now I kind of just put it in like a little box and just lay it flat on the table whenever I do use it. So they do have these little pockets that you put your pens and pencils in, and they have this little thing at the end. I'm not sure what the purpose of that is, but I'm assuming that's going to be really helpful for my problem that I was talking about earlier. You know, when you tilt it, it might fall out. So I want to put a couple pencils in later to see how well they secure, but for now let's just put this aside. And here's the Faber Castell erasing knife. I think that's what they call it. They call it an erasing knife, and it says H2 on it. It reminds me of the pencil 2H, but I don't think that's relevant at all. So this is the X-Acto knife that I use for my everyday, I guess, office use and drawing use, you know, cutting paper or sharpening my pencils. And these generally run really sharp and they do the job really well, but these Faber Castell knives that I've actually had one of these last time in my toolbox, and they actually have a really unique shape. This is definitely a lot prettier compared to a normal X-Acto knife like this. And whenever I do use it in videos, everyone's always like, oh my god, where'd you get this? This is so cool. And yeah, I agree. I love the shape of it, and it is actually decently sharp as well. So there's these eraser pencils from Faber Castell, and I actually discovered these about half a year ago, and I got 2 of them at a store, and I've been loving them ever since. This is something that a lot less people actually know about, and something that I've discovered quite late. And it's basically like pencils that you can sharpen with knives, and I use them for really tiny details that are on really hard to erase textures. I will put a really dark layer of graphite down, and then it'd be really hard to get a certain shape either with the mono zero eraser because of the kind of the bowl-shaped tip, and then the kneaded eraser wouldn't be really strong enough to get past the dark surface and create a nice solid shape. And this is kind of where the eraser pencils come in. You know, you can kind of sharpen them like a pencil to a really sharp tip and then use them to make textures like hair, which I especially love, and a lot of times I use these to kind of soften edges as well. I'm actually planning on making an entire video about this specific material, so that will be coming really soon. I'll be doing an unboxing video on these, which is, I guess, just taking these out of the box. So I'm really happy to be getting a lot more of these, and sometimes I do over sharpen them, so that's always a pain, and then I end up doing too much, so a lot of these would be appreciated. And here we have the Faber Castell 9000 set, and I've been using these a lot more than I thought I would for the facial details, just because of how sharp they can get. And I know I'm supposed to use the pit matte graphite for this specific portrait, but a lot of the darker tones, you know, it's got that little waxy texture, kind of like a charcoal, and that's what kind of makes it dark. So the 9000 set comes in really handy whenever I'm trying to do really small details and trying to get a really refined edge. So we've got two of these. And then the pit graphite matte one, which is basically the darkest graphite that we have right now, and I think it's created for the purpose of defeating the main problem of graphite, which is graphite sheen. So for some of you that don't know, graphite sheen is essentially just the light shining on graphite and it reflects back to you, and it creates this really nasty shine on it whenever you look at it or through a camera, which makes it really painful whenever you're trying to document it or showcase it. And I've been using this for a lot of my darker tones, or I guess most of my darker tones, especially when I'm doing the hair, and this goes up to 14B, which I've used a lot for, you know, all my darkest parts. Again, I'll do a review on the pit graphite matte once my drawing is a little further along, so I can give you a better evaluation of how I feel about it and compare it to the other ones out there. So we got three of these. So we got the Faber Castell 20 set, which is a combination of the Faber Castell 9000 and the pit graphite matte. And lastly, we have this white box, which 5 paper blenders, which I use for both the 9000 set and the pit graphite matte ones, just because these always come in really handy. I used to use my fingers all the time, and then I remember one time my finger, like the skin broke, so it was really painful and I couldn't use my finger anymore. That's when I kind of started using other blending materials like paper tissue and paper blenders like these. And if you're going to use these, I suggest getting a wide variety of these, because these larger ones aren't really good for tiny details, which they actually do have really small paper blenders as well. And then kneaded erasers, you can never go wrong with having too much of these. I think I go through about 1 or 2 of these every 2 months or so, sometimes a little bit more depending on what type of portrait or what kind of art I'm making. So yeah, I'm extremely grateful for Faber Castell to be sending me all of these. You know, I see this as a little pre-Valentine's gift, and you know, as artists, especially when we're productive, we end up using a lot more materials and they can get pretty costly. So I'm really glad to be supported by all these materials, you know, like every half a year, I guess, or so. Oh, before I forget, I'm gonna put some of the pit graphite matte ones and the 9000 ones in the pencil holder and see how well it holds up. I think the larger pockets are for pens, so let's try out the little ones. They seem to fit perfectly. Let's try some 9000 sets. I'm not sure if it's the same size, I would assume so. Yeah, they seem to be the same size. Let's roll it up and see. Like this. I'm going for it. It seems to roll up really well. I thought there was going to be some problems when I'm rolling over the pencils, but here you can barely feel it because of how thick this texture is. It's very leathery and thick, so you can't really tell the pencils inside even if you squeeze it a little bit. Yeah, it seems to have held up really well. It doesn't seem to be falling out at all even if I shake it. I think I'll be using this if I ever go to like a museum to draw, or just draw outside, or whenever I'm traveling. I think this holds up a lot of pencils. I put maybe 10 pencils in there, and then if I'm guessing, I think this holds up to maybe like 40 pencils, so that's probably a lot more than I need. Thank you for watching this video. I'm actually working on my hyperrealism portrait. I think it's one of the largest graphite drawings that's ever been done before, so I'm really excited to be productive again. There's a lot of stuff in my life that I've been really balancing out, and I'm getting the hang of it, but it's again a process. So I really appreciate your support. You know, I see all these people commenting and it feels really unreal to me whenever I see comments on my YouTube or my Instagram or just anywhere at all. It feels pretty surreal to be connected to so many people around the world that I might never see, but you know, it's really amazing to feel like a part of someone's life, even if it's just a few minutes or a few seconds of a video. But yeah, as always, thank you for your support, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.